So the worst thing for you when it's time to sit down and create some matter is to go to a blank screen and have no idea what you're going to actually produce that day, particularly if you're on any kind of publishing schedule that you've created for yourself. Coming to a blank screen with no idea what you're going to produce that day can be paralyzing, and we don't want that for you. So you need to be maintaining an idea pantry. That is a list of post ideas, topics, news in your industry, that sort of thing, so that when it is time to produce some content, you can refer back to that list and come up with some great ideas of what you want to put out that day. Now, there are some days, of course, when you'll already know what you're going to be writing about or making a video about, and that might be because there's some big news in your industry or just a topic that you're really fired up about and you want to immediately create some content around that. But there's going to be days when the ideas don't necessarily flow so freely. So we are going to look at, in this video, creating your idea pantry, your main content arsenal, so that those days when you don't have something to jump off into, you can go back to this list and figure out what you're going to write about. Now, how do you get the ideas? The best way that I've always found to get ideas is simply to be reading your Google Reader as you do every day and immersing yourself inside of your niche. And as you do that, you'll see really great posts that you like from other people. And you can take down notes in your idea pantry as far as you could create a list post similar to one that you read today, or you could create a list post that has a different take on a topic than you read today. But as you're going through that Google Reader, you'll get ideas of different things that people are talking about and how you can add your own spin on those things. It may also be a curated type of thing where you see somebody else's position on a topic and you have a different position. You want to quote them and then carry on with your own thoughts about it. In your collection, your area where you are saving these ideas, I want you to include product ideas that you come up with, ideas for things that you might affiliate with on your site or different advertising opportunities. I want you to include potential tweets, potential Facebook status updates, potential video ideas, potential blog post ideas. And I want it all in one place for you, because as you go back and look at the big list that you've created, a lot of times something that you may have thought was originally a really great, say, product idea or a really great video, later on down the line, you might see that that would be better suited towards a different medium. So rather than splitting up all of these things into different lists, just create one big list where you kind of capture everything that you'd like to create one day. So you could call it a creation list, an idea pantry, whatever you'd like. You could call it, mine is called work and site ideas. That's all it is. And it's just lots of different ideas for me, so that when I open up to that blank screen and need to produce some content, if I don't have any ideas off the top of my head, I can go and get some ideas directly. So jot down anything that comes to mind. Don't edit those ideas. If it's not a good idea down the line, that just means that you're not going to use it. But that also doesn't mean that it won't give you a jumping off point to another idea when you look at it 2 weeks later and you go, that's not the best thing, but I could do it this way. And for that reason, we don't want to edit, because you just want to be able to capture things, get them out of your mind, and put them somewhere else so that you can refer back to them later on when you sit down to that blank screen. Another thing that I do is I don't actually delete an item from the list once I've used it. And as your list becomes longer, it may make sense for you to move things, say, to the bottom of the list when they're done, or some other way of identifying those that are already done. But let's say you produce a blog post from your list of ideas. You produce a post, it's received really, really well in your audience. It gets lots of comments and lots of backlinks and all that, and it was a wild success. I like to keep those things in my list so that later on, again, when I'm referring back, when I'm having one of those days where I really need some inspiration, I still see it in my list and I can say, that post did really, really well. What if I put a spin on it in this way? Or what if I looked at it from this other perspective? Or what if I used that same style but about a different topic instead? So just because an idea has been used doesn't mean that it's not going to produce additional ideas for you. So don't edit and don't delete those posts once you've used them. Now, portability in this is absolutely key because you're going to get ideas when you aren't sitting down at your desk, right? So I use Simple Note, and it's got an iPhone app, an iPad app, and it's also web-based, so you can access it anywhere you are, anywhere where you've got internet access, that is. And here's my list on the left-hand side here. I call it Work Site Ideas. And here's just several things that are on my current list that I'd like to investigate further, that may become posts, that may become products, that provide me a jumping off point for additional posts, products, whatever I decide to create in the future. You could also do a notebook like we see on the right hand side that you carry with you if you prefer an analog kind of thing. And then some people actually record their thoughts, like with the voice memo recorder on a smartphone, but that is harder to refer back to. So for me, that isn't the solution. You could have your staff transcribe those voice memos should you choose to, but again, I mean, now we're bringing in a lot of steps into the workflow process, so I like to keep it simple. I like to use just a simple text file, which is what we're using with Simple Note. Put everything in there and let it marinate too. Some ideas you'll come up with and you won't quite be sure how you want to put a topic together or put a post or a video together. You'll know that you want to do something about this topic, but how you'll frame it and how you will create a storyline out of that topic might not come to you right in the beginning. And once you write something down, it kind of gets your brain thinking about it in the background. So you may find that in 2 weeks or in a month or in 3 days that you've sort of percolated on that idea and now can put together that really great post on that topic, and you'll never forget about it, obviously, because it's in your list. So we do this for 2 reasons. Number 1, so that we don't sit down to that blank screen when it's time to ship. And number 2, so that when we do come up with a great idea, it's captured and we don't lose it. So be maintaining a list of post and topic ideas. Keep that open as you're going through your Google Reader in the morning so that you can always be noting down those things that spark your interest, spark your creativity. And that way you'll never be left with the big question of, oh my gosh, what am I going to write today? We don't want that. We want to be shipping, and this will help you do that.